Here we're discussing measures of the price level, and there's 3 of them, at least 3 major measures of the price level. The first one being the GDP deflator. This is also the broadest measure of the price level. And what the GDP deflator does is it roughly takes an average of all the final goods sold, and that gives us an idea of what these prevailing goods are within the market and what their price is. Now, the second measurement of price level is the Consumer Price Index, otherwise known as the CPI. Now, the CPI, essentially, it's similar to the GDP deflator, although it takes this average price of a basket of goods. And this basket of goods is determined based upon the typical urban family of 4 is kind of a good way of putting it. So it's this average price of a basket of goods. And what the CPI works to do is to compare today's prices to, say, yesteryear's prices, right? So you can calculate it by taking the expenditures of the current year of this basket of goods, right, divided by the expenditures of, say, the base year, whichever base year we're using, and then you multiply it by 100. And what this does is it gives us a relative idea of what today's price level is as compared to whatever this base year was. And just for your reference, the base year is given this a value equal to 100 for its CPI. That gives us a really easy number to compare today's CPI to. Now, the third one that is the third measurement that's often used for price level is the Producer Price Index, or the PPI. Now, the Producer Price Index is just an average of these prices that that producers receive. So the average of producer items or goods, we could say. And the Producer Price Index, it includes not only the price of final goods, as in the GDP deflator, but it also includes the prices of intermediate and raw goods. And so what this allows us to do is to consider if there's an increase in intermediate and raw goods, we could also expect an increase in the price of the final goods, right? Because manufacturers who have to pay more for their inputs are likely to charge more for their output as well. So this allows us to compare the relationship between price levels across goods and across industries potentially. So at the end of the day, the 3 measures of the price level are the GDP deflator, the CPI, and the PPI. And we should note real quick that the CPI is often the most used of these measurements because it tends to be the most accurate or the most usable, I should say.